Crime 101 is definitely one of those movies that don't get made a lot these days. Harkens back to films such as Heat, Collateral, some of those movies that are filmed with this gritty rawness that doesn't rely heavily on special effects or CGI. A lot of the camera work is either handheld or with all the shots you see are in camera, which is a fresher breath air these days. Crime 101 is about an elusive thief eyeing his final score. He encounters a disillusioned insurance broker at her crossroads as their paths intertwine, and they're chased by a detective who is also at a crossroads in his career. Crime 101 is directed by Bart Layton, whose previous works mostly include a lot of documentary stuff. He did do a movie, American Animals, which I believe is based on a true story, and then The Imposter. And he allows for a more organic approach to how this movie was filmed, which is one of the best aspects of the film. It is a great movie, but I think some of the rawness in the in-camera action is what really sets this movie apart. Stars Chris Hemsworth as Davis, Mark Ruffalo as the detective, Lou, Halle Berry as Sharon, Barry Keoghan as Ormond, who is kind of the loose cannon of the movie and this opposing force to Chris Hemsworth, and then Nick Nolte, who's the money man and who is labeled as money in IMDb. Is more than a heist film, as you meet some of these key characters when they are on the crossroads in their lives. Chris Hemsworth's Davis comes from a chaotic background. He craves order in his current life and is looking for change. Halle Berry Sharon is a woman realizing that she may not get what she is deserved in a promotion at her work. And Mark Ruffalo's Detective Lou is in the marriage that is falling apart and is constantly told by his commanding officers to fall in line and support his colleagues in closing cases and making sure that, maybe skirt the lines a little bit on what they should be doing as law enforcement officers. And as the lives of these three characters come together, you see that not every choice is morally black and white. And I think that's what this movie is really about. The circumstances that one is in can determine the decisions they make. It's both a commentary on modern society and the divisions that create the moral ambiguities of the characters' actions, from office politics to the divide between the wealthy and the poor. Crime 101 is a story that brings you back to a time when, films didn't spoon feed you the meaning of the movie. It reminds me of films like Heat, Gattaca, Collateral, with great performances from the cast. Highlight of the film was seeing everything was practically shot. They actually filmed all the movie in LA, shutting down streets. A lot of the scenes are shot actually in the vehicle, with Chris Hemsworth actually driving for a lot of it, and stunt drivers being there for some of the more dangerous scenes. But it was something I definitely noticed in the movie was, this is all shot in camera. They didn't use blue screen or anything to fake any of this, which is always noticeable even nowadays in movies when they decide to go that route. It always kind of takes me out of a film when there's a driving scene and you can tell they're on a sound stage. I'm thinking things like Fast and Furious type franchise where, in the beginning they might have used practical effects, but the more outrageous that series got, the more special effects they started using. Like any movie, not everything is perfect. There's a couple character relationships that kind of feel a little underdeveloped, especially with Davis and the character Maya, which is a girl he comes across who accidentally rear-ends him. They exchange insurance information, but then he decides to ask her out, as he's kind of in this point of his life where he's wants to get rid of his career, who wants to stop doing what he's doing, and he has a number in his head when he needs to stop, but he's also sees this opportunity to develop a relationship with this girl. Overall, the relationship building is all right, but it felt like it could have used a little more, and a lot of that could just be how Chris Hemsworth's character is very standoffish with her, even though there's other scenes where he definitely is very controlled in those occasions. But when it comes to interacting with the opposite sex and engaging in some kind of normal relationship, he is not very keen at doing that. And Nick Nolte's character is another one that's a little underdeveloped. He's in the movie a few times. He's kind of the handler for Chris Hemsworth's character. He also is the one who calls in Ormond to basically follow Davis in what his next heist is. Chris Hemsworth's character Davis is very much about being in control and having trust. And once he loses trust in his, money man, then that's when he realizes he really needs to get out of this game and detach himself from that life. The movie has a lot of great chases in it. A lot of tense moments, especially between Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo. And then Halle Berry is fantastic in this as well. Haven't seen her anything in a while, so it was nice to see her back on screen. And then I think she kind of playing somebody in the same age as she is in real life. I did happen to watch this during the early screening, which was a Q&A with them, so you get a little bit more background on kind of why they took the movie, how they filmed it, why the director wanted to have something that was more realistic. They were discussing, it was like, oh, maybe we'll shoot this in Australia, and Chris Hemsworth was saying, I was like, yeah, that'd be great because I live there. But if you're going to shoot a movie called Crime 101 that's based on Highway 101 in California, you really need to do it within, LA County, have it be grounded in that reality. If you're looking for a movie that harkens back to another time of filmmaking, acting, and kind of storytelling with some of the classic heist thrillers, I highly recommend checking out Crime 101. 4 stars.